Father-in-law abandoned my 5-year-old daughter at mall to stop his daughter raising another woman's child. I never thought I would be writing something like this on Reddit, but I really need to get this off my chest because I can't believe what just happened. I, 32 male, got married to my wife Talia, 28 female, about a year ago after losing my first wife Daniela in a terrible car accident 3 years ago. Daniela and I had been together since we were 16. We were high school sweethearts who grew up in the same neighborhood. We dated all through high school and college, got married right after graduation, and had our daughter Lisa, 5 female now, when we were both 27. Life was perfect until that rainy night in October. Daniela had gone to visit her parents who lived about an hour away from us. She did this every Thursday because her mom had been diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer, and Daniela wanted to be there for her weekly chemotherapy sessions. That night, it was raining heavily, and Daniela was driving back home when a drunk driver ran a red light and hit her car. The doctors said she died instantly. They told me it was a small comfort that she didn't suffer, but honestly, nothing about losing her has been a comfort. I was completely lost after Daniela died. Lisa was only 2 at the time, and suddenly I was a single dad trying to figure out how to raise a toddler while dealing with my own grief. I quit my job as a software developer and started working remotely for a different company so I could be home more for Lisa. My parents helped a lot during this time. Mom would come over every morning to watch Lisa while I worked, and Dad would often bring dinner so I wouldn't have to cook after a long day. For 2 years, my entire world revolved around Lisa and making sure she was okay. I didn't date, didn't go out with friends, didn't do anything except work and take care of my daughter. Lisa would ask about her mom sometimes, and those conversations would break my heart every time. How do you explain death to a toddler? I kept pictures of Daniela all over the house and would tell Lisa stories about her mom every night before bed. My parents started getting worried about me about 6 months ago. They said I needed to start living again, not just existing. Mom kept saying that Lisa needed a mother figure in her life, someone who could teach her all the things that I couldn't. At first, I was angry at them for suggesting I should start dating. It felt like they wanted me to replace Daniela. But they kept insisting, and eventually, I agreed to meet some of the women they wanted to introduce me to. That's how I met Talia. She was different from everyone else I had met. She didn't try to replace Daniela or pretend that our past didn't exist. Instead, she would ask questions about Daniela, look at our old photos, and listen to Lisa's stories about her mom. When Lisa showed Talia her favorite stuffed elephant that Daniela had given her, Talia sat with her for an hour while Lisa told her all about how her mom used to make funny elephant noises to make her laugh. We dated for 6 months before getting married. Some people said it was too soon, but it felt right. Talia had lost her own mom when she was young, so she understood grief in a way that most people didn't. She lived with her dad Robert, 58M, who had raised her as a single parent. At first, Robert seemed supportive of our relationship. He would tell me how happy he was that his daughter had found someone who could appreciate her kind heart. But things changed after we got married. Robert started making comments about how Talia was too young to be dealing with a ready-made family. He would say things like she deserved to experience everything fresh, not step into someone else's life. At first, these comments were subtle enough that I could ignore them, but they got worse over time. Talia would always shut him down immediately. She would tell him that she wasn't dealing with anything, she was choosing to be part of our family because she loved both me and Lisa. This created tension between them, but Talia never backed down. She would get especially angry when Robert suggested that Lisa should just call her mom instead of Talia, saying that she would never try to replace Daniela. Things got really bad when Robert started suggesting that we should give Lisa up for adoption so we could start our own family. He would say things like Lisa deserved a fresh start with a new family who could give her their full attention, and we could have our own kids without any complications. The first time he said this, Talia was so angry she didn't speak to him for a week. She told him that if he ever suggested giving away her daughter again, she would cut him out of her life completely. I wanted to confront him myself, but Talia convinced me to let her handle it. She said she knew how to deal with her father's controlling behavior and that if I got involved, it would only make things worse. Looking back, I should have put my foot down then, but I trusted Talia's judgment. Last week, we decided to take a family vacation to a beach resort about 3 hours from our home. When Robert heard about our plans, he invited himself along, saying he wanted to spend quality time with his daughter. Talia didn't want to create drama by saying no, especially since Robert had been better about his comments lately. So we agreed, thinking that maybe some time together as a family would help him see how happy we all were. The first 2 days were actually pretty good. Robert mostly kept to himself, spending time at the golf course while we played on the beach with Lisa. He would join us for meals and make polite conversation, and I started to think maybe he was finally accepting our family. On the third day, Talia and I had booked a couple's massage at the resort spa. Lisa was supposed to be at the kids' club where they had organized activities for children. We had checked it out thoroughly before leaving her there. They had excellent security and a great program for kids. When we went to pick her up 2 hours later, the staff told us she had left with her grandfather. They said Robert had shown his ID and signed her out, saying they were going to get ice cream. We tried calling Robert's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. We searched the entire resort, the restaurants, the beach, the pool area, everywhere we could think of. After an hour of searching, Robert came back alone. He claimed Lisa had run away while they were walking on the beach. He said he had turned around for just a minute to take a phone call, and when he looked back, she was gone. I knew immediately that he was lying. Lisa has never been the type of child to wander off. She's always been cautious around water especially. Daniela had made sure to teach her beach safety from a very young age. We called the police right away, and they started searching the area. Those hours of waiting and searching were the worst of my life, even worse than the night I lost Daniela, because this time I didn't know if Lisa was safe or scared or hurt. The police found Lisa in the evening at a shopping mall about 2 miles from our hotel. A store owner had noticed her crying alone near the food court and called the authorities. When Lisa saw us, she ran straight into our arms, sobbing. Through her tears, she told us that Robert had taken her to the mall, bought her ice cream, and told her to wait on a bench while he went to buy her a special toy. He told her not to move from that spot until he came back. He never did. I have never felt such rage in my life as I did when I heard what Robert had done. He had deliberately abandoned my 5-year-old daughter at a crowded mall, hoping someone would find her and take her away. When we confronted him back at the hotel, he actually tried to defend his actions. He said he was doing what was best for everyone, that Lisa would be better off with a new family who could give her a fresh start, and we could have our own kids without any baggage from my past. Talia was absolutely devastated. She kept apologizing for her father's behavior, but I told her none of this was her fault. I wanted to press charges against Robert immediately, but Talia begged me not to. She said it would destroy what little family she had left, and she promised she would make sure he never came near Lisa again. After seeing how upset she was, I agreed not to go to the police, but only on the condition that Robert would never be allowed near our family again. We packed up and left the resort that night. I've blocked Robert's number and told Talia that while I won't stop her from having a relationship with her father, he is never allowed near Lisa or our home again. Talia agrees with this decision, but I can tell she's struggling with essentially cutting off her only parent. I know I made the right choice in protecting my daughter, but seeing my wife hurt like this is difficult too. Am I wrong for not pressing charges? Should I have been more firm about Robert's behavior earlier? I keep thinking about what could have happened to Lisa if that store owner hadn't noticed her. Update 1. It has been 2 weeks since the incident at the resort, and I never thought things could get worse, but they have. What we discovered has changed everything, and I'm still trying to process it all. Last weekend, Talia was cleaning out her laptop when she found some old documents she had saved for her father. She used to help Robert with his technology stuff since he wasn't very good with computers. She still had access to his email account because she had set it up for him years ago and he never bothered to change the password. She wasn't planning to snoop, but a subject line caught her eye: replacement options for abandoned child. What Talia found next made both of us sick to our stomachs. Robert had been in contact with 3 different private adoption agencies over the past 4 months. The emails showed detailed conversations about procedures for handling abandoned children. He had specifically asked about what happens to children found without guardians in public places, how long they stay in the system before being placed for adoption, and whether their existing family would be able to find them once they were in the system. One email thread was particularly disturbing. Robert had been corresponding with someone named Patricia from New Beginnings Adoption Agency. He had described Lisa as a soon-to-be abandoned 5-year-old girl whose current guardian is unfit. He claimed that Lisa's father, me, was emotionally unstable and unable to provide proper care, and that her stepmother, Talia, was too young and inexperienced to be raising someone else's child. He had even sent them pictures of Lisa that he must have taken during family gatherings. The emails also revealed that Robert had researched various locations where abandoned children would be most likely to be found quickly and safely. He had specifically chosen that mall because it was in a good neighborhood and had plenty of security cameras and responsible shop owners. He had even contacted a lawyer specializing in family law to understand the legal implications of child abandonment and adoption processes. When Talia showed me these emails, I felt like I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just some impulsive decision made in the moment. Robert had been planning this for months. He had systematically researched and arranged everything, waiting for the perfect opportunity to take my daughter away from us. The fact that he could sit across from us at dinner, play with Lisa, and all the while be planning to have her taken away. It makes me physically ill to think about it. But that wasn't even the worst part. As Talia dug deeper, she found more emails showing that Robert had been reaching out to our extended family members. He had been sending emails to Talia's aunts and uncles, telling them that I was an unfit father who was using his daughter for free childcare. He claimed that Talia was trapped in a relationship with a man who was still obsessed with his dead wife, and that she was being forced to raise another woman's child instead of having her own family. Some of our relatives had actually started believing him. This explained why Talia's Aunt Marie had been so cold to me at the last family gathering, and why her Uncle Pete had made those comments about how young Talia was to be dealing with a stepchild. Robert had been systematically turning our family against us, all while pretending to support our marriage. Talia was devastated when she read through everything. She confronted her father over the phone yesterday. Instead of denying it or showing any remorse, Robert doubled down on his actions. He told her that everything he did was for her own good. He said she was too young to be tied down to a ready-made family, that she deserved to have her own children first, not raise someone else's. When Talia told him that Lisa was her daughter too, he laughed and said she was naive. The worst part was when he told her that she was living in a dead woman's shadow and would never be anything more than a replacement mother. He said that by getting rid of Lisa, he was trying to give her a chance to start fresh, to have a family that was truly her own without any ghosts from the past. Talia hung up on him at that point and broke down crying. I've changed my mind about not pressing charges. The emails are clear evidence of premeditated attempted kidnapping. He didn't just abandon Lisa on impulse, he had planned it all out, contacted agencies in advance, and tried to arrange for her to disappear into the adoption system. I've contacted a lawyer, and we're looking into our legal options. Talia is fully supportive of this decision now. She said she can't recognize the man her father has become, or maybe she's finally seeing who he really was all along. She keeps apologizing for not seeing the signs earlier, but I told her none of this is her fault. She's as much a victim of Robert's manipulation as anyone. We've started documenting everything. The lawyer said we need to save all the emails and any other communication from Robert. We're also reaching out to the family members he contacted to let them know the truth. Some of them are horrified by what Robert tried to do, while others are still defending him, saying he must have had good intentions. Those relationships might be permanently damaged, but right now, our priority is protecting Lisa. Lisa still doesn't know the full extent of what happened. She knows that her grandfather did something bad and that's why we left the vacation early, but we haven't told her about his plans or that we might be going to court. The lawyer advised us to keep things as normal as possible for her while we handle the legal side of things. I can't help but think about what could have happened if Talia hadn't found those emails. Robert might have tried again, maybe somewhere we wouldn't have found Lisa so quickly. The thought keeps me up at night. I check on Lisa multiple times every night now, just to make sure she's safe in her bed. Talia suggested we move to a different neighborhood, somewhere Robert doesn't know about. We're considering it, especially if things get messy with the legal proceedings. For now, we've changed all our locks and installed security cameras around the house. Maybe it's paranoid, but after discovering the extent of Robert's planning, I don't think we can be too careful. I know pressing charges will probably destroy what's left of Talia's relationship with her father, but I don't see any other choice. He needs to face consequences for what he tried to do to our daughter. I won't let him hurt my family again. Update 2. 3 months have passed since we discovered Robert's emails, and the situation has taken several turns that none of us saw coming. My parents came to visit us last weekend, and what they revealed completely blindsided both Talia and me. After dinner, while Lisa was playing in her room, my parents sat us down and told us they needed to confess something. Turns out, Robert had approached them 6 months ago, long before the vacation incident. He had invited them to lunch while I was at work, claiming he wanted to discuss concerns about Lisa's well-being. At the lunch, he tried to convince them that Lisa would be better off with adoptive parents who could give her their full attention. According to my mom, Robert had presented himself as a concerned grandfather who only wanted the best for everyone. He told them that Talia was struggling with being a stepmother but was too afraid to admit it. He claimed that I was still too caught up in my grief over Daniela to be a proper father to Lisa. He even suggested that by holding on to Lisa, I was preventing both myself and Talia from moving forward with our lives. My parents immediately shut him down and threatened to tell me about the conversation. That's when Robert started manipulating them. He told them he was just looking out for Lisa's best interests and would drop the idea. He made them feel guilty by saying that if they told me, it would destroy Talia's relationship with her only parent and potentially damage our marriage. He convinced them that since he had backed down, there was no need to cause unnecessary drama in the family. My mom broke down crying as she told us this. She said they've been eaten up with guilt since they heard about what happened at the mall. They keep thinking that if they had told me about Robert's suggestion earlier, maybe we could have prevented the whole incident. I was angry at first that they kept this from me, but I could see how genuinely devastated they were about it. But that wasn't even the worst revelation. What really shocked us was finding out that Robert had also been in contact with Daniela's parents. My former mother-in-law called me yesterday after hearing about the mall incident from mutual friends. She told me that Robert had reached out to them 3 months ago, telling them that Talia was trying to erase Daniela's memory from Lisa's life. He had told them that Talia had taken down all of Daniela's pictures, a complete lie, we still have them all over the house, and was making Lisa call her mom. He suggested that they should file for grandparents' rights and try to get custody of Lisa. He even offered to help them find a lawyer and said he had evidence that I was an unfit parent. Daniela's parents had been really upset by this, and for a while, they had considered taking legal action. But then they decided to come visit us first to see the situation for themselves. They saw how happy Lisa was with us, how Talia honored Daniela's memory, and how we made sure Lisa knew about her mom. They realized Robert had been lying to them, but they didn't tell us about his contact because they thought they had handled it by ignoring him. The police investigation has revealed even more disturbing information. Robert hadn't just contacted 1 or 2 adoption agencies, he had been in touch with agencies in 5 different states. He had been building a network of contacts and planning multiple scenarios for getting rid of Lisa. The mall incident wasn't his first attempt either. The detective working on our case found that Robert had tried to create similar situations twice before. Once at a community fair 3 months ago, where he had tried to convince Talia to let him take Lisa to see the animals while we went on rides. Talia had refused because Lisa was tired and wanted to stay with us. The second time was at a shopping center near our house, but his plan fell through because I unexpectedly showed up to pick Lisa up from her playdate with his neighbor's grandkids. Talia is completely devastated by all these revelations. She started remembering things from her childhood that she had normalized but now sees as manipulative behavior from her father. She told me about how Robert had driven away several of her close friends in high school because he thought they weren't good enough for her. How he had pressured her to break up with her first serious boyfriend because the boy's family wasn't wealthy enough. How he had tried to control which college she went to and what career she pursued. Learning about all of Robert's manipulation and lies has been hard on both of us, but especially on Talia. She's struggling with the realization that her father isn't just a difficult person who sometimes oversteps boundaries, he's someone who is willing to destroy a little girl's life just to maintain control over his daughter. The case is proceeding, and our lawyer says the evidence against Robert is strong. We've submitted all the emails, and the detective has collected statements from my parents, Daniela's parents, and the adoption agencies Robert contacted. The shop owner from the mall has also agreed to testify about finding Lisa that day. Right now, we're focusing on protecting our family and supporting each other through this mess. Talia says she feels like she's grieving the father she thought she had while dealing with the reality of who he really is. But she's also certain now that pressing charges was the right decision. As she said, if he was willing to go this far once, he might try again if there aren't serious consequences. Update 3. The case against Robert finally went to court last week, and I wanted to update everyone on what happened. The trial wasn't as long as we expected because the evidence against him was overwhelming. Between the emails, witness statements, and his own admission of leaving Lisa at the mall, there wasn't much room for his lawyer to maneuver. During the trial, more details came out about Robert's plans. The prosecution revealed that he had made detailed notes about different scenarios for getting Lisa away from us. He had even researched states with different adoption laws and had planned potential vacations to those locations. The prosecutor said this level of planning showed clear premeditation and malicious intent. The most shocking moment came when Robert took the stand. Instead of showing remorse, he tried to justify his actions. He claimed he was protecting his daughter from making a huge mistake by raising another woman's child. He actually looked at Talia in the courtroom and said he was doing it all for her future happiness. Talia broke down crying when he said this, and I had to hold her hand to keep her from running out of the courtroom. The judge was particularly harsh in his comments before announcing the sentence. He said that Robert's actions showed a disturbing lack of concern for a child's well-being and that his attempt to manipulate multiple family members showed he knew what he was doing was wrong. The judge was especially angry about how Robert had tried to use Daniela's parents' grief to further his plans. Robert was sentenced to 2 years probation and mandatory counseling. He also has to pay a significant fine and perform community service. The judge granted us a permanent restraining order that prevents Robert from coming within 500 feet of Lisa or our home. If he violates this order, he'll face immediate jail time. Talia has completely cut ties with her father now. After the trial, several relatives who had initially believed Robert's lies came to apologize to us. They had seen the evidence in court and realized how thoroughly he had manipulated everyone. Talia's Aunt Marie, who had been particularly cold to us, broke down crying and begged for forgiveness. She said she felt horrible for ever believing Robert's lies about us being bad parents. Daniela's parents have become even closer to us through all this. They've been amazing, actually. They come over more often now and have fully embraced Talia as part of the family. Daniela's mom told Talia that she knows Daniela would be happy knowing Lisa has someone who loves her so much while still honoring her memory. Lisa is doing surprisingly well. We were worried about how all this would affect her, but she's shown incredible resilience. She remembers what happened at the mall, but she talks about it like it was just a scary thing that happened once and is over now. She still calls Talia her bonus mom and they've gotten even closer through all this. One positive thing that came out of this mess is that Talia has legally adopted Lisa now. We had been planning this before everything happened, but the incident with Robert made us realize how important it was to make it official. The adoption ceremony was small but beautiful. Lisa was so excited about it that she made Talia a special card calling her my forever bonus mom. We've started some new traditions as a family. Every Sunday, we have dinner with either my parents or Daniela's parents. Lisa loves these gatherings because she gets extra attention from all her grandparents. Daniela's mom always brings old photos and tells Lisa stories about Daniela, and Talia sits with them, asking questions and helping Lisa understand more about her first mom. The hardest part in all this has been watching Talia deal with losing her father. Even though she knows cutting him off was the right decision, she still has moments where she misses the father she thought she had. Last night, she found an old photo album from her childhood and cried looking at pictures of happier times. But she says she could never forgive someone who tried to hurt her daughter, even if that someone is her father. For now, we're focusing on moving forward as a family. We've started looking at houses in a different neighborhood, somewhere with a good school district for Lisa and enough space for our family to grow. Talia says she feels lighter now, without her father's toxic influence in her life. She stopped jumping every time the phone rings, afraid it might be him trying to contact her again. The restraining order has given us all peace of mind. We know Robert can't come near us without facing serious consequences, and that's helped us feel secure enough to start planning for our future instead of looking over our shoulders all the time. Update 4. It's been 6 months since the court case, and I wanted to give one final update on our situation. Life has finally started to feel normal again, though it's a new kind of normal. Robert has tried to contact us several times through different relatives, claiming he's changed and wants to make amends. He sent letters saying he's been going to counseling and has realized his mistakes. Last month, he even had his sister call Talia to say he was heartbroken about missing out on our lives. We're standing firm in our decision to keep him out of our lives. Talia says she feels lighter without his toxic influence, and I can see how much happier she is now. She told me she used to constantly worry about disappointing her father or not meeting his expectations, but now she can just focus on being a good mom to Lisa and living her life the way she wants. Lisa has adjusted well to all the changes. She's thriving in kindergarten and has made lots of new friends. Her teacher told us she's one of the most well-adjusted kids in class, which was a huge relief considering everything she went through. She doesn't ask about Robert anymore, and when she talks about grandparents, she only mentions my parents and Daniela's parents. Speaking of Daniela's parents, they've become even more involved in our lives. They come over for dinner twice a week now, and Lisa loves spending time with them. They've been amazing with Talia too. Daniela's mom recently gave Talia some of Daniela's old recipes that Lisa loves, saying she wanted her to have them because she's such a wonderful mother to Lisa. Talia cried when she received them. We did end up moving to a new house, about 30 minutes from our old neighborhood. It's in a great school district and has a big backyard where Lisa can play. The move wasn't just about getting away from Robert, we needed a fresh start somewhere without all the memories of what happened. Talia and I both work remotely now, so the change of location wasn't an issue for our jobs. The biggest news is that Talia and I are expecting our first child together. We found out 2 months ago, and Lisa is over the moon about becoming a big sister. She talks to Talia's belly every night and has already started planning all the things she's going to teach the baby. We've made it clear to everyone that this baby won't change anything about our love for Lisa or her place in our family. Some of Robert's friends have tried to use the pregnancy news to convince us to reconcile with him, saying he should be allowed to know his biological grandchild. But Talia shut that down immediately. She said anyone who tried to hurt one of her children would never have access to any of her children, biological or not. We've started new family traditions in our new home. Every Friday is movie night, where we all pile onto the couch with popcorn and watch whatever Lisa picks out. Sundays are for family dinners with either my parents or Daniela's parents. We keep Daniela's memory alive while celebrating our current happiness. There are still pictures of her around the house, and Lisa still talks about her first mom, but now those conversations include happy stories about both her moms. The restraining order has given us peace of mind, knowing Robert can't legally come near us. We've installed security cameras at the new house just to be safe, but we're not living in fear anymore. We're just living our lives and focusing on our family's happiness. Looking back, I'm glad we took legal action against Robert. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the right ones, and cutting toxic family members out of our lives, no matter who they are, is sometimes necessary to protect the ones we love. We're finally at peace with our decisions and excited about our future together. Thank you to everyone who supported us through this difficult time. We're in a good place now, and that's what matters most.